like yourself talking about prostate cancer?
A lot of men end up with prostate cancers because they never got screened.
Normalize having these conversations with our boys.
You need to. This is the 21st century.
So they are worried that after a prostate surgery, the sexual organ will not work as it did before, or
And-
not work, period.
Listen, I think they think of it like it will never work. I think them just said, Jesus Christ, but did. It worked.
September is normally observed as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. So, you know, sometimes we talk about self-care, but self-care doesn't necessarily have to be a glass of wine or a stroll in the park, a long warm bath, or sitting by the beach. Sometimes it's listening to those voices, listening to the signs your bodies are telling you, and say, let me do that breast examination, let me take that trip to the doctor, let me get some research, some information about what is happening to my body. And that is what my special guest did. He is a cancer survivor, a prostate cancer survivor. He's been cancer-free a year and a half now, and I'm pleased to introduce my very good friend and colleague, Quinton Yearde. Did I get the last name?
We will take it. It's been anglicized often enough. It's actually French.
Oh, God.
So to be your day. But you see, that would fit perfectly in Jamaica, wouldn't it?
Yes.
But we can't bother with nigger people, is it? Call my name properly, right?
Right.
No, anglicized.
Let's just call him Quinton today. How are you, my dear?
So good to see you.
You look fabulous. You can
Like
take
you,
that.
like you.
I'm trying. So, Quinton, the last time I saw you, I think it was on campus, and you just, what Jamaican would say, dash it palm me without warning.
Yes.
You're like, you know, you're some have cancer. That's how you told me.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
And your energy
Right.
and your attitude towards something that is so terminal, maybe,
Yes.
was different. Why is that?
Because I wasn't going to make my diagnosis temper how I lived my life. It wasn't a entry into death. I decided that I was going to live. So I did everything that was possible to continue living, even with that diagnosis. So I worked with my doctors assiduously, informed myself, and proceeded to be the best patient I could be, so that I could ultimately be cancer-free.
And be here today to share the
Yes,
story.
yes.
So let's start with that very first confirmation that Quinton, it is cancer. I would want to imagine that you would have been doing your regular checks.
I
and
was.
tests. And you were diagnosed at what stage?
When I was diagnosed, they thought my cancer was only in my prostate. But one of the benefits of doing a radical prostatectomy is that when they take out the prostate and the seminal vesicles, which standard, they then test it to see where exactly the cancer is. Then they found that the cancer wasn't only in my prostate, but was also in one of my seminal vesicles. So that is called 3B, I think.
Wow.
And the treatment for 3B standard is surgery and radiation. So typically persons will do the surgery, and then if there is some recurrence at a genetic level of the cancer, they'll then do radiation. I had to just, once I could take radiation, do radiation.
And that is because of how advanced it
Right,
was?
because it had come out of the prostate and gone into, gone into my seminal vesicle.
What were some of the signs you would have observed led you to do or test?
The biggest sign for me was my fluctuating PSA score.
Let's explain what that is to viewers.
So the prostate lets off this fluid, and they call it a prostate-specific antigen. And how they know if you're having issues is if that score rises beyond an acceptable limit. So for each age, you have a particular limit. So because I was taking regular tests, I had what we call a standard.
Right.
So I had started at 40 because my father had prostate cancer. So when I went in at 48 and he saw the fluctuating PSA, he said, we're going to have to investigate this. So one, they had me redo tests and over time do tests. And then they were now looking at the jump in my prostate scores within a short space of time. It was out of the normal range that it should be in. So they're saying, whenever that occurs, it's suggesting that something is happening. So they just need to find what it was. So that was the primary symptom. Because unfortunately, prostate cancer in its early stage doesn't really show.
So you were physically active and nothing obvious.
Nothing obvious.
Yeah.
When we started to see the doctor, my wife could have said, maybe his flow was a little affected. Okay, and maybe you couldn't hold your urine.
As long as you use
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like a couple years previous, you had a little accident, where you couldn't hold your urine and you say, oh, maybe that was that happening then, So that is part of the reason why you have to do the screening tests every year so that you can have the baseline. So that once there is a change out of the range, they know exactly what's happening. A lot of men end up with prostate cancers because they never got screened.
Never.
And when they go, it has metastasized. It gone to them bone.
But let's talk about the street logics that
Yeah.
a lot of men live by.
Right.
Thinking the examination is rather too personal,
Right.
or is that true?
I
What is
don't
the
know.
examination like? Why men shy away from doing that type of procedure?
Well, there are several tests that they can do, right? You have the PSA, you have the DRE, which is what I think you're talking about.
The
You have
DRE is
MRI,
what?
the digital rectal examination.
Okay.
So that's where the doctor puts a gloved finger in the anus to touch the prostate. Now, they can touch a prostate and know if it has cancer in it. And that's why it's one of the preferred examinations for urologists, because they can.
The only one, but
It's not.
preferred.
It's one of. So they do several. So they'll do the PSA, they'll do the DRE, yeah. They can do a biopsy, they can do an MRI, they can do a PSMA MRI, they can do several tests, right? So what men need to realize is that each of these tests give the doctor information that the other doesn't give him. Cool? So in my case, my DRE didn't indicate anything. And remember we said that sometimes you have prostate cancer, but it's not showing yet.
Right.
So when they examined my prostate, it was normal, nothing was there. They did an MRI, a normal MRI, nothing was there. It's the biopsy that showed that I had prostate cancer. And the chances are, if I had done a PSMA MRI, they would have seen it. Because that one is specific for that.
Yeah.
So what happens is that men need to understand it's a medical examination, a necessary medical examination. It's not a sexual act. So I can understand why a man would have an issue with a medical examination. As a people, mothers need to say to their son, listen, you see our mother will say to her daughter, oh, as you reach certain age, you need to check your breasts. And you need to look and make sure not this, that, and this. We're going to have to start saying to young men, listen to me. You need to look at your penis. Look at it, see what's happening. The ball the mill shaped, what's going on? When you get older, you need to make sure you go and you do your prostate exam. Your uncle died from it. Your grandfather died from it.
Normalize having these conversations with our boys.
You need to. This is the 21st century. It's not like when me and you grow a country and a man have stoppage of water and him take half an hour for pee-pee. Him stand up on one corner and him people can relate to that. Somebody in the country, they say, oh, him have stoppage of water, him waddle, him can't walk, couldn't walk. This is the 21st century. You don't have to have that. My approach was, okay, I have this thing. Let me figure out what I need to do. to address it. I didn't need any extra because I had enough, you know. So, yeah, you got the diagnosis or confirmation. The wife and I were at the that meeting where the histology comes back and he says, all right, this is what we're seeing, and I'm going to give you a few weeks to decide how you want to proceed. So we did the radical prostatectomy, which is the removal, and then because of the staging of my cancer, we also had to do radiation. Now that got a little tricky because when they did the prep work for that, the possibility arose that I might have to do chemo because there was a possibility that the cancer had metastasized. So what that meant was I had to now do a different test which wasn't available in Jamaica at the time. It's now available now. So what it is just an MRI, but this now is an MRI specific to the prostate specific antigen. So that means if I have any prostate cancer cells in my body, this MRI will find it. Cool?
Where you did it?
I had to do it in Germany. So I had to do it in Germany. Though the machine was in Jamaica, put on in one building.
But?
Well, you know, these things are weird. What they told me was that it wasn't approved yet. Yeah? And it was just by chance that I found it in Germany because it's not available in America yet, or England, or Canada. I was just talking to a brethren, a sister of mine, and I said, tell me something, by any chance you have this available? And she said, oh yeah, this is available. It was the standard of care in Germany from like 2000 or 2006, some madness like that. I was able to, within a week, get a visa to go to Germany, got the test done, and come back home.
And start radiation.
And then they looked at it. They still had to make a decision.
Right. So you went through radiation for how long?
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Yeah. And the radiation is a very interesting thing because you don't see it. But you just kind of notice you're tired. You have to sleep. What was good about radiation was that when I went to the radiation center, you didn't realize so many persons did radiation in this country. You saw every shape, size, color, you saw, and we all there, sitting down, waiting to go on this machine. And I was like, wow.
But we hear a lot of conversations about breast cancer.
Yes.
Different cancer, pancreatic cancer, colon cancer, but I'm now learning that prostate cancer is the leading cancer killer in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Is that really true?
Yes. And unfortunately, prostate cancer is one of the most treatable ones.
If
Meaning,
detected early.
Yeah, if you detect prostate cancer early, the percentages say, 85% full recovery. So what happens in Jamaica is that men wait too long to go to the urologist. They think, oh, it's gas. Oh, it's back pain. Rather than realizing that actually it's neither of those things. It's actually your prostate. So that's why we are saying go and get screened so you can set that baseline first and do it every year after you're 40.
We don't see a lot of men like yourself talking about prostate cancer, yet it is one of the leading cancer killers here in Jamaica.
Say, Saudicka.
But you are seeing a lot of men in radiation room, in treatment, yeah.
Saudicka, when I did my surgery, and that was how doctor said to me, it's the largest cancer killer. That's when it struck me, and I was lying in bed, and I'm saying, but if it's the largest cancer killer, how come we're not informing men?
I want to know what not to say to someone who has been diagnosed with cancer. Because oftentimes when people tell you that, you don't know how to respond. Or...
That's a great question. I think that's the best question I got today. Can I tell you why?
Why?
When I told one of my brothers, he said to me, called me back. No. Called me back and he said, Quinton, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And I said to him,
That's understandable.
there is nothing I want you to say, and there's nothing I want you to do either. I told you because of how important you are to me. What people need to understand is that a diagnosis, a critical illness diagnosis, right, is a journey that you take on your own. But you have people around you,
Right.
yeah, that walk with you on this journey. And that's very frustrating for these persons on the journey. Because what them can do really, them can get some blood, perhaps. They are not fighting what you are fighting. And that's the biggest issue. But you see that walking with you, it is so invaluable. And I say this to say that when persons say these things to you, do not feel forced to have to say, oh my God, or you don't have to say a word. It might be a mic drop moment, you know, Saudicka.
Yeah,
It
but-
might just slow it.
Okay.
Leave it alone. When the time to speak comes, you will be able to speak.
I'm here for you.
That's the bottom line. Just be there to walk with them on that journey. That's all. You don't have to say nothing. It's when they talk to persons who have gone through it, it kind of bring you back down. I say, no man, you can't go through it, man. See, I'm gonna go through it. See it, yeah?
It creates that.
See me here?
Yeah, I went through it, so don't worry. You can go through
You
it
know?
too.
And the bigger thing them man them ask, you know. So what? The thing work after? A big thing, you know. Yo! And I say to them, guys, do you know that erectile dysfunction is very common? People think that they can still function as a 20-year-old when they're 50, you know.
So they are worried that after a prostate surgery, the sexual organ will not work as it did before, or it
And-
not work, period.
Listen, I think they think of it like it will never work. I think them just say, Jesus Christ, but dead. And I think what they need to realize is that, in fact, any side effect that happens from the surgery, there's a treatment for it. And that's my simple answer.
So it can work.
It work. It not only can work, it work. You understand me?
I think we're taking too much of the street logic personal and taking it as gospel.
You understand me? They wouldn't talk to a urologist. They wouldn't talk to somebody who had it. I'm going to say, yo, when you do that thing there, yo, you never, oh.
You are now a member
Right.
of Brothers United Against Prostate Cancer.
Right.
That has been around for a while.
It started just when COVID came.
Okay.
So they launched in 2019 and then COVID came. So they were a little dormant. But now we are trying now in like a COVID pivot to say, no, we need to provide the support for prostate cancer. So if you're experiencing this, you can go on the Brothers United page on Instagram and Facebook, send us a message. This support, I think, for persons with these kinds of illnesses is very important.
And also you have to think about the families, because your family, I'm sure,
Right.
needed support too,
Yes.
mental support.
It's a great story with that because every family is different, right? And what happened was when I got the diagnosis, I shared it with my brothers. I called two of my wife's closest friends and I said, we're going to be going through this. I needed to be there for her. And they was like, well, I said, no, this isn't for me, no. This is for her.
That's good.
And then my son now, I contacted the parents of his friends at school and I said, I'm going through this. He might say this to your child and your child might say it to you, give an eye for me. So that's kind of like how I did the support thing. I had some very good friends from like high school days who are in, the medical field. And I would say, hey, this is what's happening. And they're like, okay, you're seeing this, da-da-da-da-da-da. So the support was deliberate. And what you have to understand is that when you survive these things, your life is a little different. Your life is a little different. Because you have to be aware. My wife, if I go in the bathroom and I make two sound wrong, my wife stops and says, what one? What them sound there for? So, I mean, not to
Scare anyone.
yeah, but you awareness.
Awareness, yeah.
We are aware, we are thankful.
Thankful, grateful, and being here.
Yeah, live we say, you know. I
Yes.
live we say.
And I wish you all the best. Long life, prosperity, good health.
Oh,
And I want to see you all over promoting the good cause
trying.
and talking about
Thank you for this.
prostate cancer and what can be done.
Yeah.
That's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Quinton.
Thank you.
Living life like he's golden.